Hey there guys, today's video is going to be about my EST 6632 fire alarm demonstration system. This is a system I constructed a few months ago, actually probably about half a year ago now, and I'm just getting around to making a video of it. I only have a couple devices on this system and the annunciator is not currently working, but I will show you around this system and how it operates. Obviously our panel here is an EST 6632. That is a 32 zone panel. It is the larger version of the 6616. The bell that we have on here is, well, I would say an Edwards 439D, but it's actually a Mirtone branded bell, but it's the same thing as a 439D. And we have an Edwards 270 pull station down here. This detector isn't quite fitting for the age of this system. I believe it is Edwards brand, but it is definitely too new for this system. There is another detector I had in mind. I can't think of the model number right now, but I will put it up on screen. Where does this guy line up here? There you go. So this was the detector that I was thinking would fit this system better, and what was actually on this system when this was the panel installed in the building that it came from. I did start hooking up the annunciator, but I did end up giving up on it temporarily. I may get back to it. This does have the old zone labels. This is old school, where pretty much every zone needs a wire to correspond with it. Therefore, we have quite a few connections on this annunciator. We can take a look in the panel. It's not powered on currently. I currently have 2 zones hooked up. I wish I would have made this video a little sooner when I actually got this put together, because I'm starting to forget some of the details I learned of this. We do have 2 power supplies, because basically each one of these needs its own power supply. Currently, you can see the AC is only hooked up to 1, and the batteries are only hooked up to 1. And then this power supply is these wires going up there, and then this one goes here. This ribbon cable here would go between these pins down here. I can't quite see with the cover on. We will open it up, but that does go back up to our main control panel section, and I had to remove that ribbon cable because with it still attached, I would have a trouble unless I had battery backup also on this secondary zone board, or whatever you want to refer to it as, where you have your secondary 16 zones. Because each one of these is the same, except this one's your main control panel, so any alarm on here or trouble will also show up on here. And I can show you the different cards inside of here. So it's a number 1, Robbie, to get these screws out, but then it's actually a number 0, Robbie, to uninstall and remove any of the cards installed. So this is your second bay here, and we'll also open up our top bay. I would like to know more of Edwards' history as far as what panels were out at what time. Obviously, the Edwards 6500s were out for a while, and then there's a 6500 Mark IIs, and there was the 8500, which I believe is pretty much the same thing, but did actually have a processor in it. It may have been very limited, but for the time, that was the newest available. For the 8500 was out for a while, and then I'm not sure if the 66 series, whether that's a 16 or 32, I'm not sure if those came out to replace them. I don't think so, because I know the 8500s, maybe there was some of the 6500s, but I believe the 8500s did have voice capability. There must have been some other options in between. I'd really like to know more of the history there. So as I was saying earlier, I believe this ribbon cable connected from right here, these pins here, and that took it up to in behind right there. You may be able to see another block of pins back there. It is a little bit hard to see though. I'll show you what I do know about these cards. I'm not an expert on this panel, so I don't know it all. But this first card is the one and only card that is your main control card. This is the one that has dip switches on it to change some functions. I'd have to look at the manual to know what they all do, but you can change coding from that. There may be time delays for certain zones. I'm not sure if that's a capability on this or not, but this is your main control card that actually is your main system operation. So that is as close to the brains as it gets on here. This card right here, this is a relay card. You can probably see there is some relays back there. That is your relay card. So what other cards do we have? We have one relay card installed, and then we have these cards that are jumpered way out. Why do I have this jumpered out? Well, this card is for the annunciator, which there is another one down here. And without the jumpers, I believe that card will be in trouble. I may be able to just remove the card, or there may be a way to jumper it out. I'm not sure. I just know that it had a bunch of jumpers in it, and I believe that kept it trouble-free. Again, it's hard for me to remember because it was a while ago I worked on this. Moving on from that, we have zone cards. All the zones on this panel take 3.9K resistors, but there's two different types of zone cards. Some of these have this little open contact symbol. Some have a smoke symbol. Pretty simple. Smoke means it's a powered zone to supply power to things that need power on that zone, like smoke detectors. However, you can still put a pull station or something that's just simply contact closure on a smoke zone. I'm guessing these cards are just more expensive. This one, though, this is just a contact closure zone, so things that don't take power, flow switches, pull stations, mechanical heat detectors, those sorts of things. And then we have these cards with the bell on it. That's pretty self-explanatory. That is a bell circuit. Each card has 4 zones on it, and the bell cards have 2 NAC circuits on it. You know it's 4 zones because, well, you can count the terminals, but also you have a trouble light for each zone and a trouble light for each bell circuit. Down on this card, or this card bay, I should say, I have another smoke detection, or 4 zones for smoke detectors. So you can have 8 different cards per bay, but 2 of those are going to be used on your main control bay, if you will. So is what I mean by that is one's going to be taken up by your annunciation board, and one's going to be your main control board. So that takes your 8 down to 6. And because you can only have 16 zones per bay, because your cards have 4 zones per card, that means if you're going to max it out, you can have 4 different zone cards in that bay. It's a little different for your second bay because you don't have that main control card. I believe you could have, theoretically, 4 zone cards of any type, whether it's contact closure or powered for smoke. You could have 4 zone cards per bay, and on the top bay you could have 2 NAC cards, and on the bottom bay you could have 3, which basically maxed out. That will get you 32 zones and 10 NAC circuits if I counted that up properly. I believe that's maxed out how this paddle would be. However, if you start adding things like relay cards, that is going to change your total amount. As far as programmability with the dip switches, I'm assuming it's pretty limited, being you only have 8 of them. However, the options I do know is the coding. This is basically your options. You can have continuous, you can have temporal 3, and you can have 120 beats per minute. That is your only option for the bell circuits on this panel. As I said, I'm not sure what the other programmable options are. As far as the power supplies, like I said, each bay has its own power supply. I'm only using one as I don't want extra troubles. It does have a 3 amp fuse right there. There's another fuse there. I'm guessing that's probably the battery charging fuse. Let's go ahead and close these doors and power this guy up. All right, let's power the system up. We do have battery trouble. We'll plug our battery in. And you also have lights on the power supply too. So if I unplug the battery, your one light will go away. And if I take away AC, the opposite light will go away. There you go. As I said though, usually this system would have both power supplies operational. And that's what it looks like, all happy. So this first button actually has 3 functions. It can be trouble silence, alarm silence, and reset. And you have a silent test switch that will put silent test on. And you have drill and auxiliary disconnect. So I believe that takes away your relays. One thing is, I'm not actually a fan of this switch because it's easy to bump it too far into drill mode and scare yourself. You can probably see how that can happen when you're flipping it back and you go a little bit too far. Anyways, let's get into a demonstration here. First of all, we can actually go over drill mode a little bit more. I can't remember what coding is on this system. Temporal 3. Which I should have warned you, it's a weird temporal 3. Okay, let's give a full-on demo here. We will pull a pull station. Now we will alarm silence. So you can see, currently if I hit the button, it's acting as alarm silence. There you go, alarm silenced. So it kind of illuminates what the button's going to do and what you should do. So before I hit reset, we have a trouble because the alarm is silenced. I will set off a second device here. I believe if I hit it again, it may acknowledge it, but it may also reset. So I'm not going to do that until I reset the pull station. I think it would acknowledge it. Let's see. Yes, made it, did it? Yes, it did. Okay, that did now acknowledge it. And now if I hit it again, it will do a reset. And that is reset. I think it'd be fun though to take a look at the different coding options. So dip switch 3 is temporal 3. Dip switch 4 is 20 beat per minute. 120 beat per minute I meant, and that obviously did not work. Let's try that again. Okay, now that's what a trouble looks like. You can see I couldn't get that resistor back in, so that is showing in trouble there now. That trouble is now cleared. I don't think it's worth showing off continuous. That's pretty simple. Oops. See, it resets very fast. And this will run on battery backup. Man, that storm out there is getting loud. You can hear the wind. Well, I'm sorry to keep this video short, but there's really not much to this system. But I thought I would make a quick video on it and show you what is here. So yeah, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section. And if you do enjoy my videos, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you are interested, I do have an Instagram account at Pickle700 for bonus content and content posted earlier than you'd see it on YouTube, that sort of thing. Alrighty, guys, thanks for watching.